Hello, Kimberly. How are you? I'm doing my second live. Okay, and I'm bringing in my guest today.
Hey, how are you?
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
And we already have one person with us, Kimberly.
Look at that, Kimberly. Welcome. So, Kimberly, welcome, and everybody that's joining us live this morning for our second installment of How We Sustain It All. We are talking again to Christine A. Dixon of Dixon Turnbull. And yesterday, when we chatted with her, we learned about the things that got her excited and interested in taking the leap to work for herself and how she got started. And so we thought that today it would be cool to kind of come back and talk about the benefits of having a general counsel as a part of your team. A lot of times we think that that's something that we cannot afford as business owners because it's definitely an investment. But as we get through today's conversation, we'll realize this is an investment that we cannot afford not to make. So, Christine, welcome back to
Hello.
How We Sustain It. Oh.
Nice to be here again and to really just kind of shed light on some of the things that I experience when I'm meeting initial potential clients.
Yeah. So,
or just regular people.
yes. Speaking of regular people, like when we were prepping, you shared with me this interesting story about something that happened in an Uber ride. So share that with us as something that just ways you're finding out experiences that people are having with you.
Well, I find that most of the people who I meet in contact with, like Kimberly and I met actually on a train waiting for the MARC train years and years and years ago, usually are very busy. They usually have something they're going through, especially as business owners, but they're not really sure what the solution is. So we were like talking the other day. I was coming from the MSBA's first legal clinic for small businesses, and I was heading back home actually in the evening hours, and I was in an Uber. Decided to drive and take an Uber that day and not actually drive myself downtown. And as I was about to get out, I was talking on the phone for the majority of the ride to one of my best girlfriends because she was interested to know how did the clinic go and so forth. And as I was getting out of the car, he turned around and I thought to thank me. And he said to me, "Can you fix a tax problem that I have?" And I looked at him and I said, which was so weird that I actually said that. I said, "I'm not an accountant." And he says, "I know you're an attorney. Pardon me, but I was listening to you earlier and it seems like you might know something. And I have a heavy tax debt. And it sounded as though you were saying that the IRS accepts offers on that." And I said, "Yes, they do." And then he looked at me with relief and joy in his eye and he said, "Can I afford you?" And I said, "Yes, you can." I said, and I whipped into my big, I don't even know what, I was going to say purse, but this thing was so huge, briefcase. And I took out a card and it was the actual last card. And I said to him, "Give my office a call. The person I would send you to is Charles that I work with." And he said, "Really? Someone can help me?" And I iterated, what Charles's credentials were. And then he was just like, "I will call you, Miss Christine." And he held the card to his chest and he said, "Thank you, thank you." And it really was moving because it really was a testimony to the fact that, I'm in class with Takora and other people. And I did another business mastermind years ago with Paul Brunson, if you remember, and he talked about the pain points. What are people feeling? What's going on with your potential clients? And it was that thing that happened on Friday was so immediate, like an immediate verification of some of the points that he, explained, where, clients are feeling the pain of one not knowing there is an effective solution to a problem that they have, not knowing whether or not they have even identified some of the issues they may be having. And this is like going towards now people who are running active businesses and they are, busy in the business, but they know something is just not right. The paperwork may not be right, something else on the one side, even though they're making money, is crippling them. And part of that is not knowing that, general counsel isn't really just for big corporations. You hear of general counsels to the big corporations out there, and a lot of people think this is so, outside, and that even if these people exist, they are not likely to be able to afford them. And that's another pain point, cost, so I know, can I find someone that's good enough at an affordable cost? And that's like one of the biggest things that they're out there. Like what he said, can I afford it? And I was just like, yes, you can. I mean, so I wanted to say you can't afford not to have me,
right.
but that's a whole other topic, and I would have been still probably in the Uber. Anyway, I don't know if that answers your, that answers the question you're asking.
Yeah, no, it is like, that it doesn't. I mean, I think something that at least sparked from the conversation, like, what is something that we look for when we're engaging general counsel? Like, what's something that people should think about? How do they select?
Well, I think so the angle to the other side of pain is pleasure. So everyone wants to be able to work with someone that is a match. And a match means several different things. You want to run your business. I think every business owner, whether they're solopreneur or they are, a head of 15 people, or they have 4 people, or they have 5 family members, everybody wants to be able to run their business and stay compliant. They want someone on their team that can work with a team. So general counsel is that person. Usually people have lawyers that they consult, and they think of lawyers as people you bring in to solve problems, someone I consult to solve problems. But I think as general counsel, one of my favorite things to say to people is, I'm the chief problem solver. I am that person that's on the team as a business team member, and I'm also your legal advisor. How does that work? I mean, people most times come to me with everything, and I tell people, bring everything, because then I can help you parse through what I can't do and help you narrow down the issues and say, okay, you may need to bring someone else in for this, you may need somebody else for this, but this is how we should approach the problem. And I think everyone wants to be able to find that person. And I think what people don't realize, or they probably do know this, but are afraid to grapple their arms around, attorneys make good strategists. We are a business asset. It's not, we're not merely around just to fix issues, but we are really here to proactively help you not make them happen. So me keeping you compliant, me helping you with an issue, even as, when I'm doing audits with companies, I'm actually the one pulling together the documents. I'm labeling the documents. I'm doing things that are not necessarily legal, but if you have a small team, you got to jump in and do what you need to do, because you know what the auditor is looking for. You know what the IRS is looking for. You know how they want to receive it. The client may not know that. So you got to jump in. And that's what I find that I'm, doing a lot when I'm actually engaged by smaller companies. And I think people need to understand that the experience is supposed to be a good experience. You're supposed to, your general counsel enables you to leverage your resources. They help you comply with laws and regulations. They help you save money in penalties and even remove barriers that you face. And I'm probably going to talk more about that last one a little bit later, but that's really what we're there for and how we assist people when we are, given that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it sounds like you said, it makes a lot of sense to invest in a general counsel. We can't afford not to have a general counsel. We want to make sure that the general counsel that we do select is a good match. And I love the connection between, like, you have pain. A general counsel is the person that brings you pleasure through the process, so to say, that you don't have that that pain anymore. So with that being said, what are some things that you've experienced your clients to have been through, I guess maybe as a result of not having general counsel, or like kind of you coming in to be the solution to whatever problem they were dealing with?
So, for example, in that first case that we talked about with the Uber guy, the first thing that they normally are experiencing is lack of knowledge. They want to comply, but they really don't know, they don't understand all the ways that they have to, all these, the avenues that are there to be compliant. So they're looking at, you're coming in, you're looking at what is this client's business. The general counsel gets to know your business. So then we can identify what regulations are out there that you must comply with. And like I said, a lot of the times that I'm meeting people, and if they are already in a problem, it's due to lack of knowledge. They did not understand what they needed to do and what they needed to button up to get to the point where, for example, in the case that I, just talked about, I'm almost quite certain with the guy's demeanor that he probably owed a first year tax, probably owed a second year. Then it just got overwhelming and it mushrooms. A lot of times I meet clients and it's like an onion that I'm unpeeling because the problem may have started very, very, very inadvertently. And then because they're not sure, they kind of kick it to the side and then they kind of, oh, okay, we'll deal with it. And then it mushrooms into something and then they have a notice. And here you have a problem. So that's one of the things. Some people experience anxiety and pain around the fact that they've had past issues with attorneys. One of the things I had to face, and I face daily, is people have this misnomer of attorneys being a certain way, and attorneys charging high fees, and attorneys not paying attention, and attorneys lying, and you have those, as in every profession. But as in every profession, there are good ones. There are people of faith, like myself. There are people who practice honestly. There are people who do what they're supposed to do, that are respectful, that are affordable. And I think people, I have clients that I have to tell them when they start telling me the stories, okay, we got to let that go now. We need to move forward. We are going to move past this experience. I'm going to do what I can for you to move past this experience. But you have to have us ultimately, because sometimes it is too late. But at the same time, you have to bring people in and you have to learn how to get past those past traumas. Again, the one we talk about is cost. People, experience that anxiety about, legal services and what they're going to cost. They vary. Legal services vary by the state. They vary by the years that an attorney has been practicing. And they vary also by the expertise that an attorney has in a specific area. I have an attorney on my team that I have consulting with not one, but probably more than one client, and his per hour is $750. Mine is not $750. But when you think about the expertise that he has garnered in a particular area and the length of time, it's justifiable. There are, scales. Libby is one of them that's used in Washington, D.C., Maryland, DMV area. They are that someone can actually put the years, the length of time, the expertise on a scale and see the per hour. And he actually, to me, would be more than that if he were placed on that scale. So there are going to be times where you will run into solutions. But if I'm dealing with a tax problem, I'm not working with any other attorney. So technically, my client is going to have to bear that, because he has that much experience. And guess what? Where you would find a younger attorney that does not have that level of experience or have not worked for the IRS like he had, it will probably take them a year to accomplish something he can do in 3 months. So you will end up paying that cost ultimately. And during that time, they may blunder your file. So, these are things that clients need to take into consideration. Another thing is to know that, like, for example, my firm and his, we do upfront pricing. We offer flexible payment, alternative payment options. We do per hour. We do monthly retainers for people who we're bringing on as general counsel services clients. We actually offer a monthly retainer thing where we say, okay, if we do 20 hours per month, this is what this fee is. People like that because they're able to see that fixed cost, and they can work that fixed cost like as though they're using that as an employee's pay into their budget. And they know that, let's say, we're working with you first 2 months, you were at 20 hours, something happens, and the next month you're at 30 and 40 hours. We're not going to say, okay, now you need to give us 40 hours. We're already on that contract, whether it's for 6 months to a year. We'll let you know, listen, we can't be doing 50 hours every month, but, you are paying for that certainty. So there are months where it's a give and take. So you may get that 50 hours 1 month, but then there was the month that we may have done 15. So it balances out. One of the other issues that I think people are having is they may hire an attorney that's not the best fit for them. I know that I have a strong personality. I work with people who are just as strong as me. I'm not the person that you bring on that's going to be your yes attorney. It's choosing an attorney is the equivalent to choosing a bed. You got to lay on it. You got to, look at it. You got to, search it out. You got to read reviews. You got to, do what you need to do before you bring that person on, especially for general services, because you don't want to have clashes where you are clashing in front of your subordinates or so forth. So you want to be able to bring somebody who is a good fit. And as I tell people all the time, take advantage of discovery calls. Take advantage of your consultations that you're just charged, a small amount. So you can get to know this person. Read reviews, look them up. Certainly, you must be able to tell your attorney everything when you bring them on. So you can't have somebody who you're afraid of, giving all your story to, because again, we're only as good, our advice is only as good as the information that you give me. So being able to share with me, being able to talk to me is essential. And, so that I think rounds out some of the fears or the things that I guess that I think people experience when they come.
Yeah. I think this is a good place to kind of wrap up. First off, you mentioned discovery calls, so that's one thing. If you are interested in a discovery call with Christine A. Dixon from Dixon Turnbull, you can reach out to, what is it, DixonTurnbull.com. I was debating if I was going to say www, but we know that we don't have to put that in anymore. DixonTurnbull.com. and also on Instagram, like you can totally DM her. I guess she'll still answer her DMs for you if you reach out to her, and you'll still have to go through the official process, I'm sure, to schedule your discovery call, but you can start the initial communication via the DM. And I love this conversation that we've had just about how important having a general counsel is on your team. And I also like the fact that you are a small business friendly attorney, right? Where you don't have
I'm a small business owner.
Right, exactly. So you get it, right? So it's like you don't have to come to the table and not know, what your bills are going to be every month because you don't know the hours. There are opportunities where advance retainers. You can work those retainers in your budget, and you can be with somebody who gets it, which is important. And I also like the point that you brought up as it relates to your attorney is only as good as the information that you provide them with, because their job is not just to, the general counsel is not just to fix your problems, it's to help to make sure that you don't have them in the first place. So leveraging that knowledge that they have, leveraging the strategic mindset that they have to get you pretty much focused on what it is that we want to do as business owners, focus on the thing that we got in business for, not all of the other
right
things. Yeah.
So, one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about too before we end is really busting some of those myths. You can have an attorney and pay a reasonable rate. You can have an attorney that gives you fair pricing and is upfront, or pricing is on or website. Sometimes when we do specials, we put them up. I have also seen that my virtual assistant is also on here, Corella. You can reach out to us and talk to us before we enter into, and we'll tell you, this may not be something that I can handle based on a conflict, or it may just not be in my scope. And I will look for someone else similar for you. And I have done that for people. But, one of the things that I think people need to realize is, as you said, the proactive nature that general counsels work from. We help not only to fix the problems, but, one of the things we do, and I've done in the past when we have had either cases or we have had an audit, we do sit down and do after action plans with you and say, okay, this is what happened here. This is how we could do this better. And I've seen this work on one of my primary clients, and she does this religiously, always thinking, do I need to do this? Do I need to bring on, someone to monitor here, so that this issue that we just worked to solve, we're not going to be there again. The other thing that is most important that I think really came to bear during the pandemic was how much general counsel helps you to leverage opportunities. For example, during the pandemic, when they came out with the PPP loans and the idle loans, I attended almost every SBA conference or information setting, sharing event they had, Black Chamber of Commerce event they had virtually, to make sure that I understood this thing inside and out. I was able then to actually shepherd two of my clients through that process. And they both got both PPP and idle loans and did phenomenally. Because one of the things that people needed at the time, and a lot of people could not get those loans, were their business documents needed to be in order. At the end, when you got that confirmation from the SBA, and if you had a nonprofit, if you had a corporation, they needed resolutions to say, not only can you apply for the loan, even for LLC, you had to do a resolution that says you can apply for the loan, and one for you to accept it on behalf of your company, even for solopreneurs. And so you needed to have counsel on dial. The people that got through had counsel on dial that were working with them. and they leveraged that opportunity to help them grow and to stay afloat during that awful time. I mean, when you are looking to identify, people or attorneys to bring onto your team, always remember to choose people who are confident, people who are decisive, people who are knowledgeable, and people who are very clear with you as to how they can help you. The objective you should focus on is when you're meeting them, if they don't ask you the question, what is your ideal result, they may not be the right counsel for you. Because I've had clients who were working with firms who they had issues, and the people did not sit down and look through all their documents, look through to hit on the root of the problem so that they could fix their issues. And they would just answer the phone call of the regulators and keep them going afloat, but never was there a fix, a permanent fix to their issue. And that's one of the things that general counsel, and when you think of general counsel, the other thing I want people to realize is we don't have to be in your shop anymore. They're outside general counsel. So when you think of general counsel, normally you think of someone who is an employee to the company. They're contracting people who do this work like myself. We're contractors and we are outside and we do trainings for your people. We come in when we have to make an appearance for meetings, and we offer the same solutions that an internal general counsel would be working with you do. So I think that's kind of where I wanted to kind of end with that whole thing, and to remind people they can reach me here at Dixon Turnbull. You can also reach me at Christine A. Dixon, and you can call the office 202-656-9054 to schedule a discovery call or a consultation. And, we'll see if we can help you.
Yeah. And I also want to kind of drip out before we close out officially, that there is a offer brewing for an offer brewing to celebrate 10 years
Yes.
in business.
Yes.
That we're going to mention. We're going to tell you what it is when we come back for the series on Thursday. So stay tuned. Just giving you guys a heads up. There is something that is brewing. How we can work with how you
and yes, and Kimberly's asking if we can add the information in the chat. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
When we get back on, if not Thursday, the following week, and we'll also post information on the website for it.
Yes. Cool.
I'm so
great.
So excited. November 27th, 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, that's listen, they say that if you get past 3, then you're pretty good. So you've done that 3 times plus 1. So I think we're gonna make it.
Oh God, 3 times plus 1. That's actually that sounds like my ring around the office. I'm quitting, and here I am slowly walking in on Monday morning. Anyway, it was good to have this chat with you.
Yes,
thank you again.
Thanks again. Thanks again for joining us for what is this? How we sustain it all. And we'll see you back on Thursday. So everybody share.
Is it Thursday or Friday?
It's Thursday, but we will confirm offline, guys, and let you guys know.
We'll
see you again this week for sure.
Yes.
All right.
Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.